Hello and welcome back to Tazori Home. Today we are bringing you the next episode in our series, Design Within Reach, where we tour everyday people's homes to show you that you can create a home you love within your means, no matter what budget you have. Today we are visiting Ashlyn Davila's beautiful home in California. Ashlyn is the queen of thrifting. You are going to be so taken aback by all the beautiful pieces she has in her home and where she was able to find them. We hope this episode encourages you and inspires you. Let's go see what Ashlyn is up to.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to my home.
Oh. I always love to start by asking how guests got into design. I'm wondering where you started and how you fell in love with home.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've always been a creative person, and then in 2019 we bought our first home and we were waiting for it to be built, and not my husband. I went to Home Goods and every home decor store and bought a ton of decor. And then by the time we moved in, I realized that none of it really flowed or made sense together. And that kind of narrowed my focus on like, okay, how do I want to really curate each room in my house? And then the pandemic hit, and I also was on maternity leave. So I just dove right into home design, and we moved to this house, and then thrifting. Those were my outlets, so.
Did you always know that this would be your style, or how did you discover your style in that time?
I think really via thrifting. I mean, I remember looking at Pinterest and all these beautiful designer houses, and then finding, you know, like a pot like this, I would find in a shot, and I'd be like, oh, I need that. And I would look it up and be like, oh, that's $200. Like, I can't have 5 $200 pots in my house. So then I really started thrifting, and then you start to find more of what you like and really expand. Thrifting is a way for me to expand my creativity too, to take a piece that may or may not look pretty in one setting and take it into my house and style it. I think that's kind of guided my taste, but it's always evolving as you know. Yeah.
If you want to discover your design style like Ashlyn but don't know where to start, I'm giving you free access to a course I created for our membership down in the description below. This course will help you to better understand your style, define your aesthetic, and learn how to achieve that look in your own home. So if that interests you, it's totally free. You can click the link down in the description below to get started. I hope it helps you out. And now let's get back to touring Ashlyn's beautiful home. All right, so why don't you talk to us a bit about your living room here and just your approach to designing it, and maybe some pieces that are standouts to you?
Yeah, so this room has had a few different configurations. I did have a huge green side piece that was beautiful and I loved, but it kind of limited what I could do with the space, and it kind of closed it off a bit. So I wanted to try something different with a more open layout. This tapestry is the hallmark of the room, I think, and it's my first auction win. So another option if you're looking for vintage finds or auctions as well, I know. But yeah, most of it has been curated from secondhand. I mean, from the coffee table to the chair, to the lamp. I mean, most of it has just been slowly curated over time from thrift stores, and that's just pretty much the theme throughout my home.
All right, this table is awesome.
I think this coffee table was $10 or $15
My word.
at the thrift store.
That's amazing. The legs are so cool.
Yeah, I adore it, and I think it's super unique and adds some character. This side table I got from Facebook Marketplace, and it was a huge Facebook Marketplace fail because I from the picture was convinced that it was a full-size console. So I made my husband immediately get in the car and go get it. And he got there and he's like, "Are you sure this is what you were looking for?"
Gosh.
But at that point I was like, well, I feel bad backing out. But I love it. And I did get a full size eventually. But yeah, check the measurements on Facebook Marketplace.
That is so funny, but it is really cute, even as a side table. That is so funny.
Yep, yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the tapestry, like I said, was my first auction win. I think I paid $200, which in the tapestry arena is
that's
very
pennies, honestly,
yeah.
for a tapestry. That's insane. The colors are so good.
Adore it.
How do you approach arranging your furniture, and what are some things you like to think about when it comes to arranging?
I think obviously aesthetics. I want it to be open and welcoming, but then I also want my house to be really livable. And I have 2 dogs, I have 2 kids, I have a husband. I don't want it to feel so stuffy. My mom had a formal living room that was like, no one touch this room. And I never wanted that. So I want it to be functional, but I also want it to be pretty. And I think that's also a huge pro of shopping vintage is when you have something with natural patina, it doesn't really matter if it gets an additional scuff from, a kid drawing on it or nicking it. It's okay.
Why don't you tell me a bit about your gallery wall? I feel like gallery walls can be daunting.
Yes, yeah.
So what's your approach when creating a gallery wall?
I think everyone has a different method that works for them. For me, I'm such a visual person, and as much as my husband hated this, I just went for it. I started putting the art up, and then I would change it, and it left us with a ton of holes. But that is, I know some people like to tape it out or make a mood board for a visual, but I have to see it.
Yes.
And so I kind of just go with my gut with most of my design choices. It's all about vibes and balance for me with a gallery wall. It's like, if you have a lot of cool tones, you're gonna wanna add some warmth. If you have a lot of, flat texture, then you're gonna want to add something with more depth. My number one decor piece is books. I will never ever pass up a good book at the thrift store. I adore books. I am convinced that one day in this lifetime I will have a full library. So yes, I continue to collect all the time. I mean, if someone's ever struggling with styling a console or any piece really, like adding books in different heights, it adds so much to any styling. I like a house that shows some personality, and I think when we buy things, we're not thinking of like trends, like what is the latest drop at Target. I kind of lead with what speaks to me and my personality and my family's too.
And I see that it's so unique. Your home, that's what happens when you shop like that. You go into a store thinking that way, then you end up with a home that feels so layered and specific and expressive, and you feel that when you walk into a home. You get a sense, like I can walk in and be like, okay, I get a glimpse of Ashlyn. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I love those homes. Those homes, I think, the layers and just the homes that speak to the people who live there are really special.
Well, I would love to explore your dining room.
Come on up. This room's had a few iterations as well. I think these chairs are probably my pride and joy in the whole house.
Amazing.
I just have never seen anything like them, and I get questions about them all the time. And they were from an estate clearer who sells on Facebook Marketplace. And I just adore them. I think they are made from an old temple door.
Wow.
That's what the seller said, at least. But yeah, I really feel like they make the room special.
Absolutely.
And I adore them. Yeah.
And these against this like cement.
Yeah.
Wall.
Yeah.
This is an amazing piece as well.
Yeah, this is RH, and it was probably one of our biggest splurges for moving into this house. And granted, we got it at the outlet versus the the actual store, but yeah, we love the contrast between the table and these antique chairs.
These are amazing.
Yeah,
there's like a time and place, you know, if you're saving in the other areas, and then to be able to splurge on bigger pieces that take up more.
Yes, yeah, and as much as I love a deal and a thrift find, if I am a strong believer, and I have fallen prey to this, if you really want a piece, do not settle for something cheaper, because then you're gonna always be thinking of that other piece, and then you're gonna end up wasting more money in the process of finally getting to that piece. So I don't know, I think there's definitely pieces that are worth saving up for, whether they're antique or new.
I know that it seems like you did some of your own.
All of them.
Yes. Tell me a bit because tell me a bit about this, because I imagine it was more not so, there's so much character that you've added. So talk to me about how you added character to this space.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a California thing or like newer house. I mean, this house was built in the 90s, but it still has many textured walls. And when we came, it was all stark white and textured. So it has been my mission to kind of add like a plaster finish to the textured walls, like the orange peel. Well, maybe not quite, but same arena. So that has been time consuming. I have been going from wall to wall, and I'm still not done, not even close, but yeah, so that's been a huge project, and I feel like it makes a huge difference having you know, textured walls versus like a nice texture that's a little more, I don't know, like an ode to like an vintage Spanish style plaster.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, we added this molding as well. I feel like that adds, molding and millwork does wonders for a house. And yeah, we're adding the character in because we don't have a lot of character that came with the house. So slowly but surely we're adding more character features to the home.
That's encouraging too, because I think sometimes, you know, when people are looking to buy a home, seeing, like you were saying, your old house, like a white box.
Yeah.
You feel like, how could I ever make this beautiful?
Totally, yeah.
But you can.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe that anyone can make their home beautiful, whatever that means to them. It is so attainable. But again, with projects like this, that also takes patience. There's plenty of walls and rooms in my house that still aren't finished, and we're 2.5 years moved into this house. So it takes a lot of time, unless, you have an unlimited budget, but not for us. So it's attainable, but it does take some patience and hard work.
Yes.
This console table was probably one of my first Facebook Marketplace finds, and I was so stoked about it. I ran out the door to go get it and pick it up. And so it's a really special piece. It's so timeless. This actually was from our old house. So I think the beautiful thing is that these pieces can stay with you forever. They are heirloom pieces. My kids are not gonna inherit IKEA furniture. Like, this furniture will still be around for them, if they want it one day. But it really transcends trends and generations, and I think that's so special, because those pieces that were quick to buy and are maybe cheaper quality, then you're quicker to get rid of it. Then you're quicker to donate it. Whereas something that you not only searched for, but then I, put work into refinishing it, it holds some more value sentimentally than something that I just go to Target and buy.
I love this pot that you have.
Yes, that is a DIY, actually.
It is?
It is, yeah. It's like a resin pot, and I added some like concrete to the outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, this piece over here is pretty amazing. Tell me about that one.
This is from Olive in LA.
Oh, we're going there in a few days, guys. I'm so excited.
Yes, yeah, this is from there, and I've never, seen one out in the wild, at least.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, I need to add that to my collection. But yeah, I adore that piece, and I'm so excited you're going there.
Yes, I'm super excited. But Olive Atelier, is that how you say it? Olive Atelier.
Yeah.
We'll put the link down below.
Yes.
For you guys. And also, most of your home is thrifted, and so, but if there's anything new, we'll put links down below for comparable things for you guys to be able to shop Ashlyn's home, should you wish, which I'm sure you will. All right, this is amazing. Let's go into your kitchen area.
Yes, please.
I love how every room in your home flows together so beautifully and feels so cohesive, and yet each room has a different personality. Do you have any tips for someone for how to achieve that?
I don't know if I do that purposefully, but I definitely think the best way to approach it is, well, what works for me is before I start designing any room, I do a mood board with the pieces and what kind of vibes I want to give in the room. So I think that infuses a little bit of personality. And then I think also I'm designing rooms at different stages, right? So like I may design that room right when we move in, and this might be a newer iteration of my, involvement in my style. So I think that adds into it, but I think that really drives the vibes in my rooms as like that careful, thoughtful process of laying out how I want the room to look and make me feel before I start designing it. And that's what kind of guides how I collect for that room and what I buy, the pieces I buy.
I love that you put this butcher block here.
I adore that butcher block.
So smart. I think that when you see this space, you see a tiny kitchen, you would think just leave it open.
Yeah. Coming from our last house where we had a large kitchen and a large pantry to a small 90s kitchen was, not as challenging as I thought it would be. I think we've adapted quite well, and maybe because I don't cook often, but I have no issues with maintaining our meals and cooking and getting everything done, storing everything in here. But yeah, I think it is a true 90s kitchen, so I wanted to do anything I could to bring in some charming elements in here.
You have so many beautiful moments throughout. I feel like there's so many vignettes. Everywhere you look, your eye is catching something beautiful, even this, mirror shelf there.
Yes.
How do you approach styling those little moments throughout your home?
I think it was, at first it's out of necessity, right? Like I don't have like the most beautiful historic house, so I had to take any opportunity I could to infuse beautiful moments within. And that's just really important to me because it makes me feel creative and it's an art form to me. And I think, once you start decorating your kitchen, you can start thinking about like sidewalls and other places to infuse beauty that you can't think of when you're in the midst of trying to just get your bearing and decorating like your basic spaces. But any opportunity I can to add a pretty moment is, again, just like feels very special to me because I can use my creativity to do that.
The light in here is just...
Oh yeah, that was
so
my favorite part about buying this house is the amount of light this room gets, because this is, again, where we spend a lot of time right off of the kitchen with our girls and our dogs, and yes.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I love how this room has a more like light and airy feel. And I don't know if that's partially because right now the light's coming in through it, but your other living room feels more moody. It's nice to have, is that intentional for you? Do you design rooms to have different feelings for different experiences?
Yeah, I do. In this room, actually, like I think the light and the curtains have a huge influence on like the light and airy feeling, but I did have dark curtains in here, and I every day was like, this just feels too heavy on my eye. And I don't know how to really word that or articulate that, but I was just like, it just feels too heavy. And that's when I swapped out the curtains, but I like warmth.
Yes,
and I like deeper tones, but I was intentional in using a lot of lighter and airier items to lighten it up. This lovely lady was from Barcelona, I think, at the flea market. I honestly cannot remember how much I paid, but I can guarantee it was like under $20.
Wow.
I think everything else is thrifted. This is from Olive again. When I went out there.
Beautiful.
Love them. This coffee table was a Facebook Marketplace find.
It's gorgeous.
That my husband kindly went and picked up for me. It's thrift, Facebook Marketplace, thrift.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, and just slowly over time, just adding more pieces, different pieces, and it's come together. This is our primary bedroom. We love our last primary bedroom was seriously an 8-foot ceiling box. Wow. So we very much appreciate the vaulted ceilings in here and fireplace. It's a huge feature for us in the space. This room has had some different iterations too. I think my original mood board before we moved into this house was like more earthy, and I think it's kind of transitioned with time to maybe a little more light and traditional. And I think that's just come with time and my preferences and my taste. But there's pieces like this mirror that I wanted for years. I wanted one so bad. And so when I finally found one, I'm like, yes, that is going over my bed. And it has been there for over a year. So yeah.
Where's this bedding from?
It is from Amazon.
This is just gorgeous.
You know what? I have so many duvets and duvet inserts and covers. And it's so hot here in the summer. I'm like, I need a comforter that is light, and it's a duvet and washable, because our 100-pound Mastiff likes to come barreling in here and jump on it. So I wash it all the time. And I'm like, I need something just light. But I just saw that like Lulu in Georgia, I think, has like a very similar one. So I'm like,
wow. Amazon.
We lucked out, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll have to link it below.
Yes.
And I love the feel of it. I see you did on the walls here again, you plastered it.
Yes.
Or what exactly did you do?
So I like to say plaster, but that's like, some people would say skim coat, some people would.
Skim coat, yeah.
So skim coat, I think usually the process would be you mix water with joint compound and you roll it on the wall, you scrape the excess off and you repeat that process, and then you paint on top of it. But because I like a little more texture, I mix the paint with the joint compound and I scrape it on. And that's just, I know people probably watch me do that and they're like, that you're doing this the hard way, but it just works for me. Yeah. And like, I keep a big old bucket of mixed paint and joint compound ready for when I'm like ready to go on another wall. Yeah.
Is your plan to do it to the whole house?
Yes, eventually, but.
It really adds so much.
Yes.
Don't tell me this is thrifted.
No, Revival, but yeah, it's vintage.
Wow.
Yeah, that's I love, gorgeous. I've had so many rugs, and I find that the vintage ones are the ones I hang on to. I adore the character that they bring, and again, like they're just not perfect, and I like that. I like the lived-in look. So my number one goal for my house is for it to look lived in. You know, there's an Instagram audio, I think, that it's like, I want my house to look like no one, or I forget how it goes word for word, but
I think I have heard that.
Yeah.
Like no one touched it, or like
no signs of life, and I'm like, I feel the exact opposite. Yes. I'm like, I want my house to be infused with life and living. So yeah.
I love that. Well, you've definitely done that. You've definitely achieved that.
Let's head to the guest room.
Okay.
Go into my girls' room. The most special room in the house, at least to me.
Did you have so much fun making this space for them?
Yeah, it's really special. To me, it's more than just decorating a room in here. It's like, this is gonna be their childhood memories of their childhood bedroom. So yeah, it's really special just curating a special room for them.
I think that probably everyone viewing, you can always like remember the feeling of your childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
Even if it's not something that like today is your style, right?
Right.
You would like, it just takes you
nostalgic, right?
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, and I hope that they'll look back and just know that they're safe here, and it's how much love I put into, making this room for them.
So how did you approach this room?
So I think because I never had a sister, I was like, they are sharing rooms.
Aww.
And they're, under 2 years apart. So I decided that I wanted a shared room for them until they could decide, like, hey, it's time to kick her out. And they haven't quite yet. There's been little mumblings of it, but for the most part, they're happy in here. So I was like, bunk bed, vintage bunk bed. I was set on finding one. They're not that easy to find. Literally one morning, I open up Facebook Marketplace, and these are there for $40. So I'm like, yes, let's go. Those are really the staple piece of the room, and they actually can come apart to be separate beds.
Wow.
So yeah, when I do get word that they're tired of coexisting in this space, then we'll separate them and put them in different rooms. It's a perfect space for them to play or fight and make those memories.
And I'm sure when they get older, they're just gonna think about this room and have such happy memories.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, well, why don't we go downstairs and chat a bit?
All right, let's do it.
I would love to know, what has been something that through creating this space you've learned, maybe about yourself or not even about yourself, just something that you've learned through the process of creating a home?
I think I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself and my style and patience of, having to really wait it out to find your dream pieces. I've learned that this is such a special creative space for me and an opportunity to really play and make my form of art that so often we lose in adulthood, especially in today's day and age. It's, very routine, go to work, go to home, cook, and this is like my opportunity to really explore that side of myself, and I really value that side of myself. I think that's my strength versus, being behind a computer. So I've learned a ton about myself, and this journey has been really amazing for me.
What would you say to someone who doesn't exactly know what their style is, or maybe they find themselves flip-flopping a lot? How would they get in touch with knowing what is my style? Who am I? What do I love?
Yeah, I think that's a journey in itself, right? We don't all just, I mean, maybe some people, but we don't all just wake up and say, I know I like, you know, Spanish style homes decorated this way. It takes a lot of self-discovery, right? Like, and that too evolves over time. But I think looking out for inspiration, what you're drawn to naturally, and then again, asking those questions, why am I drawn to this? What is special about this? And how can I incorporate these things in my home? And again, when you're looking at you know, beautiful designer homes, sometimes it can feel out of reach, but once you get started on what it is you like, you can really narrow in and be able to find those pieces in many different settings, right? And it doesn't have to be out of reach.
If there's one thing that people watching this video could take away, one piece of advice, what would it be that you hope they go home with?
I hope that everyone knows that no matter what your background or, you know, if you own your home, how big your home is, you have the ability to control your space, and things aren't as out of reach. I know things are expensive. I know it's hard to look at a home on 80 and look at where you're living and see the vast difference, but there are things within your control to move towards your dream space. And even if it is just like, this isn't my dream house, but I can make it into my dream space for right now. And everyone can do that, and I firmly believe that.
Well, that was so well said. Thank you for that. I have really enjoyed this time together. Thank you
so
again.
much for coming.
If you guys want to follow Ashlyn on Instagram, her Instagram is Davila_home. And if you would like to shop anything in Ashlyn's home, obviously a lot of it is thrifted, but we'll put a link down below. So if you would like to shop pieces from her home, make sure to check that out. And if you would like to see the extended cut of Ashlyn's home tour, make sure to check out the link in the description. We put all of our extended home tours in our membership, plus so many more exclusive videos, and so make sure to check that out. I think that's it.
Well, thanks so much for
Yes,
coming.
thank you for having me.
Of course.
We'll have to come back, and when you have your hacienda or
know.
your little whatever farmhouse in Italy, we'll have to come give you another tour.
Yes, you will. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.